Hello, my technical drawing and design class. This video, today we're going to be working on the shutter. So from the Georgian House assignment 2A, the shutter, you should have this sheet either printed out or up on the screen in front of you. And as part of this, you should also have the drawing that'll help step us through this. So make sure you either have both of them up on the computer or, as I prefer to do it, have it in print and in front of me. So today I'm going to assume that you already know how to open up a file. You know how to save it to the Google Drive file stream. You know how to set your units to architectural, and you know how to do all of these procedural setups that you see on the sheet here. If you do not know how to do these, please take a look at my video on how to set up an AutoCAD file. That will step you through everything step by step, or ask me in class. Today, it looks like we are going to be picking up two new settings in here. First one is an array, which we'll be getting to in a little bit later. And another thing is we need to verify that we are setting our fillet, uh, the corners there, that we do not have any type of radius built in on that. So let me show you that real quick. You can see on my screen here, this is the finished product. This is the shutter in magenta. This is what we will end with. I'm going to do Control A. I'm going to delete this here. Control A, delete. And we're going to start from scratch. So to check your fillet radius, what you do is you can either come up here to the fillet command. You can select it, and then where it says choose first object, you can just type an R in there and press enter. It's going to ask us now for our radius. We can put a 0 inches and press enter. And then we can start selecting things we want to fill it. Press escape. Another way to do this, which is the way I prefer to do it, is just with my crosshairs here in the middle. You can see I have nothing sitting there. I have the open crosshairs. I can type in fillet, Fillet, and then rad, R-A-D. Fillet rad, all is one word. That stands for fillet radius. Press enter, and it brings me directly to where I want to be. Again, 0 inches, enter. I've now set my fillet radius. Very good. So let's see here, another couple things, make sure we have set up in our procedural settings. We have the snap off, which is right there. I got that turned off, good. My grid is on, very good. My ortho over here, ortho mode is on, very good. And my O snap is on. So that's my object snap or O snap. And if I pull down my settings, as it says in my procedural setup, I have my endpoint, midpoint, center, intersection, and perpendicular. Everything else is off. So I'm good to go. Let's go with step one. Now this is one of the shorter projects, so this is not going to be a super long video. I have my line here. You're going to see that I'm not snapping to any lines in here. That's because I have the snap mode off. I'm just going to go ahead and start up here near the top at one of these intersections. This looks good. I'll click and I'll kind of move my mouse off to the right, but not click again. Step one says to do this at 1 foot, 8 inches. Tab, we're at 0 degrees, that looks good. So I'll press enter. The next one, it says this is 4 foot high, so 4, single quote, it's 4 foot. To the side, once again, this is 1 foot, 8 inches, so 1, single quote, 8, double quote, enter. And then I can just close this up by taking the crosshair up to the green square. I got the endpoint, very good. Click, and then I'm gonna press escape. Step one, done. I'm gonna go ahead and save the file. I tend to save after each step, so we're good to go there. Next, step two, it says offset 2 inches to the inside and do my trim or fillet to 0-inch corners. So very good. Let's start with the offset. I have my offset tool. I am doing this at 2 inches. Center. And I'm taking all of these lines and just bringing them in. So top, side, bottom, and other side. Very good. Press escape. Now let's go ahead and get rid of these extra lines on the side. I can either trim or do fillet. So I'm going to do fillet, I think. 1, 2, grab it. There you go. Do fillet again. 1, 2, very good. Fillet again. 1, 2, very good. And finally, the last corner, fillet. 1, 2, and there we go. Step 2 is done. So let's go ahead and save here. Step 3, it says modify properties. Grab the entire frame in a window and change its color to magenta. So easy way to do it. If I do a click up here in the top left and come down to the bottom right, whatever I have under the box will be selected, but I have to have it fully under the box. Another way, if I go from the bottom right and come up, anything I partially get will be selected. I just need the whole thing. So there we go. Very good. So I have it all selected. To change the color up here in the properties in the ribbon, you see the color wheel right here. Right now it says by layer. I'm going to click the by layer and I'm going to hit the magenta color index. Press escape. There we go. Simple enough. My frame is magenta. Save. That's step 3. Step 4. It says for the shutter, we need to create 2-inch louvers. We could offset it. Now, that's true. We could do the offset here. If we wanted to, we could do 2-inch, 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 2-inch over and over and over again. If we want 21 louvers, we'd have to do this 22 times. That will get very old very quickly. So there's another way to do this, which is our new tool, which is called the array. Array is a really, really cool tool. So I'm going to select this, the array. Very good. And it says select objects. What is it I want to do the array? I just want this bottom line right here, because that's going to give us a bunch of lines coming up. So I selected my bottom line. I'm going to press enter. Now you see up here in the top, I can change these numbers here, or I can do it through the command bar down here. Since being up here at the top is very easy for you all to do, you can go through them all and then just hit close array. I'm going to do it the harder way, which is across the bottom here. And the first thing it is asking me for is, so we did a rectangular array. Have that, we got the bottom one, rows. So ROWS, enter. How many rows? This thing says to do 22 rows. So 22, enter. Spacing between the rows, right there in step 5, letter F, or I'll do the columns here in a second, but F, it says to do it 2 inches apart, 2 inches, enter. Very good. My columns, I could again change it up at the top, but I'm going to specify the elevation between, there we go. I'm going to do COL for column. You can see that at the bottom of my command strip. Again, you can do this up top if you like. How many columns do I want? I want only one column. Between columns doesn't really mean anything because I only have one column, but I'll leave it there. And it looks like we're good to go. Press enter. So we have this really neat little array here. If I select it, I can get them all in there, just like that. But it did basically a step and repeat for us. We now have all of our little louvers sitting right here. Now I am going to mention a tool that is not in the instructions that you're going to want to know. It's called the explode tool. See, the problem is we're going to later on, and I'm showing you this in the picture here, we are later on going to be removing lines out of this. If we leave this as a straight array, we're not going to be able to do that. We need to break the array apart. So what I can do is I can type the word explode, E-X-P-L-O-D-E, press enter, and saying, what do I want to select? Select the objects. I want these. Very good. I could keep selecting objects, but this is what I really want. Press enter. Done. Now, if I were to select one of these lines, I'm only selecting the individual line. I'm not grabbing that whole array. So that's the explode tool. Again, explode, E-X-P-L-O-D-E. select what you want to break down into its individual parts, and press enter. Alrighty, so now that I have all that, it says in number 5I, it says to make the 21 louvers red. So I am going to grab all these in here, something like that, change my magenta color to red, and press escape. A little hard to see probably on my screen here, but I have magenta on the outside and I have red in the middle. Step 5, done. I'm going to go ahead and save. All right, step 6. It says the O snap a line out or a layout line from midpoint side to midpoint side. What we're talking about here, and this is just, we're going to be deleting this line later, is we're trying to find the midpoint of the shutter. So as I come down here, you see that little green triangle showing up right there? That's where I want to snap to. So I'm going to click there. I'm going to come all the way across, and you see the other triangle. That's what I want. Select that, press escape, and I have this little guideline that I can work off of. This is one of the really nice things about the object snap or the O snap going to the midpoint to midpoint. Just makes life so much easier. All right, so that is that. Number 6, done. Save. Step 7 says circle command. Using the midpoint O snaps for center point locations, type and enter radius values. So these radius values that we're going to be using are on the picture here, and it is giving us a 4-inch diameter and an 8-inch diameter for the outside circle here. Now, remember that diameter is twice the radius, or other way to look at it is radius is half of a diameter. So when we do a circle here, I'm going to grab the circle off the ribbon. I'm going to come right to our little guideline here. I'm going to the middle because I want this thing nice and in the middle. Where are you at? Oops, let's get that line again. For some reason I didn't get the line. There we go, line tool. And get to the middle, there it is, the triangle. I click it. I now start to move this thing up. And, oops, I wanted circle, not line. Try that again. Circle. Very good. Center of the circle. Grab the midpoint. Start coming up. There we go. And my outside radius, because that's what it's asking me for, is the radius. For my outside circle is an 8-inch diameter, which makes that a 4-inch radius. Press enter. Perfect. And it's right there in the center where I want it. Grab the circle again. Come back to this midpoint. Perfect. Click. And now my 4-inch diameter is now a 2-inch radius. Perfect. Just like that. So now that was step 7. Very good. I will save. Step 8 says erase the layout line and the center louver. So here's my layout line. Let's get rid of that. Delete. The center louver is right here, this line. Delete. That's it. That's step 8. Save. Step 9, trim out the center point panel interior. Select the outer circle as your cutting edge. Very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to start trimming these little parts out, and what we're going to end up with is something that looks like this. Okay? So I'm going to grab my trim tool up here. Now I want to use all this stuff for trimming, so I'm just going to click so I can grab all that stuff to work with. I want to get rid of these interior lines. I want to get rid of part of the circle here, but I have everything selected that I need, so I'm going to press enter. And now I start trimming. So according to the picture, I need to get rid of this little line. I need to get rid of this little line. I need to get rid of this little line. I need to get rid of that little line. I need to get rid of this part of the circle. Oops. Come on. There you go. That part of the circle. And that part of the circle. Looks to me like that's perfect. Press escape. And I now have my everything trimmed out just like it shows right here. So step 9 done. Let me zoom out so you can see it a little bit better. And finally, step 10, it says match properties, change the center panel lines to magenta to match the frame. So real quick, I can click down here, come up here, click, I have everything selected, come back up to my properties, the color wheel. Since I have everything selected, I will pick magenta. I will press escape. That's it. Nice and done. Press save. And the shutter is done that quickly. If there are any questions on this, please let me know. Otherwise, feel free to get it done and turn it in. Have a great one.